I believe everybody needs a good coach in their life who's coaching you. This concept of potential is, man, I need somebody in my life who's squeezing it out of me, because left to my own devices, I'll contract and retreat. Find a great coach. Go for the mentor over the money. Really dig in and be serious and curious about your own God-given potential every day.
Welcome to the Unstoppables. This is the station, the home, where the greats teach you how to turn those ideas and intentions into dollars. And today we have a great one. His name is Coach Micheal Burt. Coach, welcome to the Unstoppables.
Absolutely. What a great title. What a great title, man. Unstoppable. It's hard to beat unstoppable, man.
You just keep rolling. I thought that was the only way forward in life. If I was stymied and I was stuck, man, just keep moving, crawling, whatever you had to do, just keep moving forward, right? Be unstoppable.
It reminds me of being in Brad Lee's office one day, and I took a guest with me, and they asked him, like, what's up with all the rhinos? Like, what's up with all your fascination with rhinos? And he said, have you ever tried to stop one?
You know what? I was with Matt Monero, and I had on rhino cufflinks, and he said, you should give these to Brad Lee. So next time I see him, I probably will. See, I wear these paladin ones, these knights, which is determined advocate. That's what it means in the dictionary. Champions of a cause, determined advocate. They are paladin knights, and you're determined and to make a difference for people. You're a champion, an advocate for people, and you're literally a champion in basketball. So give me 30,000 feet, Coach Burt, where you started and how you got to where you are now.
Well, I spent from 19 to 31 as a women's basketball coach. I actually started very early in life. And one of the first things I began doing is I was a deep disciple of Covey. And I taught every player the 7 habits of highly effective people, the principles. I got into the principles of good to great, the 5 dysfunctions of teams, all of those great things. But I really began to engineer people to win. And that kind of became my number one thing I did, is how do I go to work on the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. We began to win lots of games. People began to ask me, what are you doing? And that's really starting my journey on why I began writing books and speaking out into the world, is because people were asking me, how are you winning so many games? Your team has such great chemistry. They seem so disciplined. Could you transfer that over to the business world? And I said, I don't know, but let's try it. So at 25, I began writing books, and that was 16 years ago. So now all I do every day is I'm really a pure coach. So I run a coaching company that has about 585 members in a program called Monster Producer. And we have those people locally all the way up to other countries internationally. So every day I'm coaching business people that want to show some accelerated growth in their business.
Coach, how many books have you written?
I've written 12.
Now you're making me envious. I got one. Okay.
Well, I just say, listen, my first 2 weren't very good. I'd be the first one to tell you that. I was just trying to figure it out. But I think people do business with other people that believe the same things they do. I think having a message, having something to say is just as important as having somebody to say it to. No. So I think your book is your message. And I think, my message is everybody needs a good coach in their life. We contract and retreat without the help of another person. I think those that have a coach earn 3 and 4 times the amount of money than those that don't. So that's really my life's message, has been sharing that with the world, that, man, you need a good coach in your life who will help you get to a higher level.
Well, I've been accepted. My second book is with a big publisher, so we'll see how I do with that one. Good. Tell me what a monster producer is.
Well, I was driving down the road one day with a former employee, and I asked him, what do you think we do here? This was early on in my coaching business career. And he said, do you really want to know the truth? And I said, absolutely. He said, man, I think you are a freaking monster. He said, but not in a bad way. He said, I have just never worked with someone who has the engine that you do, the drive, the ambition, the push. And I think we create other monsters. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay. And he said, I found a definition in the dictionary that a monster is a legendary creature that combines multiple skills to dominate something. And as soon as he said that, I said, man, that's it. I'm going to build a coaching program called Monster Producer. We're going to help people become legendary creatures. We're going to do it in a systematic and rhythmic way. We don't let people get too far out. With about 12 touches a month, X number 3 to 5 live events a month. And we have built this very powerful network, the Monster Nation, that is now feeding off of each other and creating exponential opportunity between the network. So they get the coaching, plus they get the network.
You have tremendous energy. I think you hold the record for the most presentations in a day. Is that correct? Is that like a thing?
40, we did 41. I did 41 presentations in a day. And I did that because I'm out there trying to build a brand. I'm out there trying to get attention. I'm out there trying to do uncommon things. And one of the mottos is people don't talk about common things. They only talk about uncommon things. If you want to cheapen anything, just make it common. And so I said, what can we do that's uncommon? And we came up with, we've done reality TV shows. We've done, I did 41 speaking engagements in a day. And here's what's funny, Bill. The truth is I could have done 80. If we would have done a better job planning that day, we did a decent job. But if we would have done a better job planning, I could have done 40 more. And
I think I would have shut the show down at that point if you had told me 80.
Well, we got 40 at the very end. I said, "There's one more business, man. Let me go get that one." And so
cool.
We got.
Well, I've had the pleasure of meeting you at 10X, and you are not only a very, very extremely high energy person, a very successful entrepreneur, but you're humble. Man, you stay humble. You stay connected to what I think are your roots of values. Is that how do you do that every day?
The one word that we consistently heard after I spoke at 10X, because I was relatively unknown before 10X. I mean, it shows you the power of when you speak to 9,000 or 10,000 people. We picked up 167 new clients that day in a matter of an hour, which was big. But the word we kept hearing from people was, man, you seem authentic. You seem humble. I was raised by a single mom who had me when she was 16 in a very small town in Tennessee. She taught me the value of community. She taught me the value of caring about other people. I do believe we're in the transformation business, which means people are coming to us with low thoughts of value. We're trying to convert them to high thoughts of value. And so I believe that that's just who I am as a person. I'm a faith-based person. I've always been very open about my faith, about my beliefs. And I think we attract a certain type of person who says, it seems like you really care about the people you're coaching. They're not a transaction to you. And that's one of the best compliments I think we can get is, in the grand scheme of things, we're all trying to go out there and achieve something. I think there's a difference between confidence and arrogance. And I try to be confident, but not arrogant.
I always say that confidence with talent is ego with talent is confidence, right? Ego without talent is arrogance. And I'm really embracing the low value proposition that most people don't have that confidence or they think less of themselves, to your ability to coach them up. Yeah. Coach them up. Then they got to do their own push-ups, but to coach them up to high value. And one of the things I heard up front sounded very similar to my 4 pillars of how I try to connect with people on the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, the intellectual way. So tell me when you were coaching, tell me about those pillars you used, because I think this is a foundation of what you do, what they mean to you in terms of how you were getting to them spiritually, how you were coaching them on those levels, different than just the physical.
Yeah, if you understand the whole person theory, this was a theory that was brought to the market by Covey in '89. It was very fringy. When I was studying this in the early 90s, it was very fringy. You didn't talk about your spiritual part of your nature at work. You didn't, and he really said this will become mainstream. And you have to give a guy credit because he projected that in the early 90s, and it did become mainstream. And so he basically said, a person's made up of 4 parts: a body, a mind, a heart, and a spirit. And each of those parts produce 4 different needs, 4 different dimensions, 4 different capacities, 4 different intelligences. I don't think we can have a conversation about a potential if we're not discussing all 4 parts of a person's nature.
Yes.
So, I said this the other day on a podcast, what good is it to have knowledge with no desire? My buddy Brad Lee said, well, a person with knowledge could help a person who had desire. And, I get it. But to me, I'm looking at a whole person. If you have a broken heart, you're going to be disengaged. If you have a broken spirit, you're going to be disengaged. You can be there physically, but not be there with your most important parts, your mind, your heart, and your spirit, which is what a lot of people are doing today. So a lot of people that come to me for coaching have had some success, but they still seek validation to go to another level. They still need another person to open up their mind to other strategies. And so I try to tackle all 4 parts. Now, the way I do that in my coaching is we offer faith-based events for the spirit. We offer passion events or desire events for the heart. We offer things for them to learn mentally, and we offer things for them to learn physically. The new greatness factories that I'm building around the country and we're franchising around the country is a unique location that has a gym, a spa, a learning facility, a rooftop experience, podcast studios, offices to rent. And I'm building those so a person can go get fed in all four parts of their nature, the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit, versus go to multiple places for those things.
You're blowing up my Instagram. And one of my friends is from Chicago. His name's Ned. So hello, Ned. And Ned wants to know if you offer online classes.
Yes, we offer two types of training online. We offer, access to my online academy called the Monster Growth Academy.
The Monster Growth Academy.
Monster Growth Academy, and you can see that at coachburt.com. But that is all of my content that is in one light speed platform that you can purchase at a one-time, and then you have access to that. We also offer my coaching programs online. There's people in Alaska that are in my coaching programs, other countries. I teach those programs live every month and live stream those. If you go to coachburt.com, we can explain those to you.
Coachburt.com.
Yes, sir.
Coachburt.com. Well, you've redefined what a monster is to me. I always thought it was like Bela Lugosi, Dracula, Frankenstein stuff, but you redefined what a monster is. You redefined a monster producer for me. And how I want to become a monster producer. So what do I do? How do I become that monster producer?
Well, think of it this way. Based on 15 years of coaching lots of people in multiple industries, here's what I found out. They have 4 or 5 missing structures. Missing structures, a void or gap. If we just did these things, they're going to be much better. They don't know how to explain their services in a world-class way. We teach a 6-step framework in how to explain your services in a world-class way. They don't have a selling system, which is a calculated and consistent way to go out and generate leads in business. They don't have a 7-touch follow-up. They don't know how to extract 5.7 referrals or 4 to 6 referrals from every transaction. And they don't know how to become people of interest. Okay. Most of those topics I've written a book on. I wrote $1 Million Follow-Up. Okay. I've written Person of Interest. And what I'm doing is helping people with these missing structures. So I have a pretty big claim. If you do what I tell you to do in a 1-year cycle, you're going to get a 43% increase. That's my goal for every person I coach. Maybe more, maybe a little less.
How the heck did you come up with 43%?
We measure people when they come into the program, and then we look at them 1 year from the program. Many times it's more than that. Just the fact of having a coach. I mean, because you've been a coach to lots of people, and just the fact of having a person in their life, if they don't get a bump, then something is bad wrong, because they will get a bump. It's just it's a matter of how much that bump is going to be. So I say it's not uncommon for a person that I'm coaching to get at least a 43% increase in 1 year. Now, so you say, what do? I coach people through those very specific missing structures. And we have special courses on that every month. And if I can get those things right in your business, you're going to make a lot more money.
You're going to coach me. Where would you appeal to me first, emotionally or intellectually?
I think emotionally. I think here, let me go back to something I said earlier. People do business with other people that believe the same things they do. Okay. So when I spoke at 10X, that most of those people appeal to me emotionally, who I am as a person, what I believe, what kind of cadence I have in my message. Does my message move the needle in their life? They first appealed to me emotionally. And then they said, a lot of people said, I haven't spent $1 on one person until I saw you speak. And I'm willing to purchase your product because I feel you and I line up on what we believe. That's what they said over and over. So I think you buy into the messenger before you buy into the message. And I've spent my lifetime coaching people, which is why I have a cadence and a rhythm about it. I'm very clear. I have a clarity of thought about how I help a person get to a much higher level. It's not random or sporadic. It's not confusing. It's very clear in step 1, step 2, step 3. And that's partly because of my coaching background in athletics.
And you have an authenticity, and it comes right through the screen. You have an authentic way. You just believe you. You know, obviously the people buy the messenger before they ever buy the message. So you've got to buy that messenger, and I'm buying you. But I want to know about one thing. I want to know about these follow-ups, because follow-ups is the key to any successful business endeavor. Is follow-up, 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 and staying interesting. But could you give me? Let me steal this from you, okay? Could you give me those 7 touches, those 7 follow-up techniques that might help someone in the audience right now?
Well, I want you to think of it like this. What we're day trading for is attention. So to me, the purpose of the follow-up is to rekindle the initial attraction, right? It's
I
to
love the day trading for attention. I'm going to use that one.
yeah, I mean,
it's a great one.
well, I think it's one of these concepts that I could be attracted to something momentarily, but something else gets my attention. And so the purpose of the follow-up, in my opinion, is really twofold. It's to rekindle the initial attraction that they initially had, but they didn't purchase. And they didn't purchase because of some type of fear and uncertainty. So they didn't have enough information to purchase. So then the second purpose of the follow-up is to articulate how you can solve their problem better than anybody else can. And how can you get them excited to take action? So I use both linear and nonlinear touches in the follow-up. So a linear touch is I come right at you because I have a level of certainty. And I say, Bill, have you seen enough to take action? Have you seen enough to make a decision? It seems like you want to do this, but you're stuck on one thing. What's stopping you from moving forward? Because you told me when you called in that you wanted to do this, and I've done a poor job of explaining this. So that's a linear touch. I just come right at you, but I come at you in a way that's not aggressive or threatening. I laugh and I have fun with it. And that'd be like, you're right, coach, sign me up or enroll me. A nonlinear touch is where I say, look, Bill, I've been working with 3 people just like you. They all wanted to show a significant bump in their business. I used these 3 strategies. They showed that bump. Here's a testimonial from them. Look at the testimonial. Let's talk tomorrow. That's a more nonlinear touch. So what we do is we craft these 7 touches for people based on their personalities. I use videos. I use voice messages. I use things that rekindle. I've even gone into the studio and cut audios where there's music plus me talking as part of our follow-up. So I'm trying to recapture, like you saw me at 10X, you liked it, but for some reason you didn't take action. I try to connect you back to that moment that you saw me at 10X.
Right.
What specifically did you like? People say, well, I like his energy. Well, I would say, well, what would it be like if you experienced that energy every month, 3 to 5 times a month, and we were infusing that into your life? Well, the best way for me to do that is a video. The best way for me to do that is an audio that maybe I can bind music with as a touch, click to listen to this. So I think you have to be more creative in your follow-up versus the way I see people follow up, which is text messages. They don't make me think. They don't make me take action. I really just kind of keep moving. It's like, what would you like to meet? Do you have any questions? I go right at people and say, look, it looks like you want to do this. I feel like there's one thing holding you back. If we remove that one thing, what would stop you from taking action today?
So you're recreating the experience.
I'm recreating the energy that they felt when they saw me to begin with. What would it be to get that energy every month? You like that feeling that I gave you, right? Mm-hmm. So how do we recreate it every single month? I pump it right into your life, and I do it in a very systematic way. So that's the way I follow up. I ask very direct questions. I use the phrasing, it seems like you want to do it. There's one thing you're stuck on. What would prohibit you from taking action? And I also use this. I believe we lose 10% of momentum every day we don't act. If you want to do it today, why would we wait 6 months to get started? We will have lost 6 months of momentum. Right. And so sometimes people go, you're right. Sign me up right now. They just need a little shot of energy. Mm-hmm. But what they need is, think of it, certainty and uncertainty are meeting each other. Mm-hmm. They're uncertain and you're certain. I have a certainty about me that if you will get in our program and do what I'm teaching you to do, you're going to show a lift. You're going to be better. And that certainty typically wins out when I meet people that are uncertain if I think they're a good fit.
I'm going to replay this because what you said is extremely valuable. And you've got me thinking about a momentum as a wave, and you're just putting me right on top of that wave. You're telling me if you don't jump on this wave now, you're going to lose 10% of this wave every day. And momentum is the toughest thing in life there is to start, but you don't really know when you have it. You just know you're moving forward. You're in the zone, but you sure as hell know when you lose it. You sure as heck know when you lose.
Well, listen, I'm an old true basketball coach, so I would tell you that there were games that I was up, but I could feel us losing that momentum. Mm-hmm. And it's really who has the momentum at the end that wins, mm-hmm. because you could control the momentum for the whole game except for the last 15 seconds and lose the game. So once you get on the wrong side of momentum, you know what it feels like. And I ask people, have you ever been on the wrong side of momentum? And it's always exaggerating. It makes you think you're better than you are. When you have it, it always makes you think you're worse than you are when you don't have it. And I like to get you on the good side of it.
So, okay, I'm sitting here. I'm thinking, I want to get this. How do I start my momentum? What do I got to do?
I think you mentioned something earlier about confidence. I think, a stock definition of confidence could be the memory of success. But if I hadn't had any success, what could I do to build that success? I really think, I tell people that are low on confidence to build momentum, first thing I think you need to do is you need to hire a personal trainer. And you need to get in the gym early in the morning, and you need to get a first win out of the way. And a lot of people will never do that. They're like, well, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, look, this will start building your confidence. This will start building your momentum. Then I need to get you in a rhythm. Rhythm is very critical. So, for example, in my organization, we train every morning at 8:30, which means I'm training my people on how to become better, how to make outbound calls, how to overcome objection, anything related to increase. From 9 to 11, we prospect. That means we don't deal with anything that happened in the past. It's all have to be futuristic money, all new money from 9 to 11. At 11, we eat lunch. We come back and we solve problems from 1 to 3, and we do cleanup from 3 to 5. Now, and what I'm trying to do is get my people in a rhythm and build confidence. And the more success they have, the more it just breeds off of each other. So I find confusion is when too many things are in motion at the same time. Confusion is when we have a randomness. So as a coach, I want you in a rhythm, and that builds a confidence. Hey, I know exactly what we're doing. I'm using a selling system. I have a world-class EOS, explanation of service. I've got a 7-touch follow-up. I know when to ask for referrals. This builds a confidence in people versus a randomness.
And confidence could be known as the memory of success.
And if you don't have that, though, somebody will push back on that and say, what if I hadn't had success? Confidence is an internal knowing that you can create or manifest what you see in your mind. But it all starts by small, private victories, in my opinion. And then you build momentum, and then you build momentum.
And Coach, I love what you said about getting that first win. And there's a Navy SEAL who wrote a book, just, make your bed, make your own bed, or I think it's the title, Make Your Bed. And it's getting that first win out of the way. And it's Navy SEAL. That's a Navy SEAL way. Make your own bed. That's the first win of the day.
Yes.
Get to the gym. Then you come back and make your bed, or make your bed and get to the gym. What are 5 small shifts that can make or drive huge, massive success?
I think when it comes to small shifts, I always ask people, what are you reading? What are you listening to? I personally start every day off with some type of spiritual content. I then go to the gym. So I get up at about 4:30. I then I'm on the way to the gym by 5 a.m. I'm listening to a sermon. I start my day by listening to a sermon. I end my day by listening to a sermon. I just give the first part of my day and the last part of my day to the Lord. And I don't give myself permission to read anything business related until I do those things. So I start my day that way. I end my day that way. Then that gets me in a proper mindset. Okay, that's a small shift. What am I listening to first thing in the morning? What am I reading first thing in the morning? Another small shift is of how you see adversity. I define adversity as unexpected or a departure away from the ideal scene. Some people would define it that way. It's unexpected circumstance, but it's going to happen. How you see that adversity is critical. So what I do is I create these rhythms. When I have disappointment, when I have adversity, when I lose, what do I do when I have these things throughout the day? Some people rewrite their goals when they lose. Some people, handle these differently. I write my goals out every night before I go to bed. I use a certain planner that I created. I put myself down. A lot of people don't do this. 98% of people don't map their days out. These are small shifts or small hinges that turn big doors if you're really just focused on these small things that world-class people do that other people don't do.
Yeah, so many of us are looking for the magic pill, the big win, but it's all found in the small fundamentals and staying true to self and being on that rhythm and that program. And what you said is you don't allow yourself, you don't give yourself permission to do certain things unless certain other things are done before that. It's a great takeaway.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference between amateurs listen to their feelings. I think professionals don't consult with their feelings before they do things. It doesn't matter if I feel like prospecting today or not. It doesn't matter if I feel like speaking. It doesn't matter if I feel like being on this podcast with you. I have conditioned myself to show up and be good in every circumstance. And that builds a muscle in you, not to say, well, I don't feel like doing this today. I don't feel like doing that today. I think that's a big separator between big time people and small time people. And a lot of people just don't do things based on their feelings. I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like prospecting. I don't feel like doing this. Well, it doesn't matter how you feel, in my opinion. It matters do you have an engine inside of you that will keep going even when you don't feel like it?
And just get in motion, because motion can create emotion.
Absolutely.
So get in motion. That's all part of what I think you would call the anatomy of a winner.
Yes.
Give me a little more about the anatomy of a winner. What do they look like?
Well, after I won a championship as a high school women's coach, I thought, okay, now I've accomplished something a lot of coaches will never do. How do I kind of backtrack and help other coaches win this championship? So I wrote a book called The Anatomy of Winning. And basically what I said was how to build a program and not a team. How do you build a program? So I did things every day that would touch the body, mind, heart, and spirit. We had daily leadership academies, daily success academies. We had life after basketball, where we connected our players with successful people in the community. As I mentioned earlier, we taught the 7 habits of highly effective people to every player. Just imagine what kind of advantage a 14 to 18-year-old would have if they had that kind of training every day. So on average, 5.5 hours a day with me over 4 years, it came up to almost 1,300 hours that the players spent with me in 4 years. And we really built an atmosphere of success. We really, and the reason I can say that is because the team that I did coach has now won 7 of the last 9 state championships in Tennessee. They have been the #1 team in the country twice. I spent 10 years building this culture, and now these coaches have taken that and they just dominate. I mean, it's a dynasty now, but it was a lot of grind. That's an atmosphere of success. And I go in businesses every day where the atmosphere is weak, the culture is weak, the leadership is weak. You know, I can feel it. It's how I feel when I walk in, on how they meet and greet. What kind of energy do they have? Is it progressive or not progressive? Are they learning or not learning? When you come to the Greatness Factory, we have music playing every day. We got progressive people that are there. We got the TV screens on. We got high energy. We got things happening because that energy will get you a lift. I want people going, that's a place I want to go.
Right. How do we find you?
I think you go to coachburt.com. You can pretty much find me there. You can see my online academies. You can see Monster Producer. I'm on all social media. If you go to Coach Micheal Burt, I do spell my name, or my mother spelled my name, Micheal versus Ael. So if you look at Coach Burt, Burt, you can find me on Instagram, Micheal Burt, Micheal Burt. And I'm out there in the world just trying to build a national brand. Same thing you're doing out there, just trying to make it happen every day, man. Just helping people and really, really enjoying the coaching of people all over the world.
And for those who have not been exposed to your sartorial splendor, they've got to check you out just to see the jackets you wear.
Yeah. I do have a jacket that I specifically ordered when I wrote the book Zebras and Cheetahs. You know, a zebra looks different than every other animal, and I was constantly thinking, like, what symbolism can I use to make a person think about looking different? So we had this very ugly zebra print jacket, and I wore it every time I spoke on that book. And you would be shocked that I go places in the world today, and they're like, man, where is that jacket? But it was symbolic of looking different in the world. I was very uncomfortable wearing it because it really made me stand out. But it was very important to the message, which is we live in a commoditized world. We need to find a way to stand out versus fit in.
How do you cut through the noise of all the people who proclaim to do what you do, who are self-appointed gurus, coaches, mentors? How do you cut through the noise?
I think I'm very clear about my message. I think I have a rhythm and a real methodology. Listen, like I said, I'm a deep disciple of Covey's. So I'm not cotton candy. I'm not just pop-up psychology. I mean, I have a real methodology. I'm really coaching people every day. We're getting real results. I'm not just an author or speaker that goes around the world and speaks. I mean, I'm doing it. I'm a practitioner of what I speak on, which gives me constant content. It gives me constant something to say. So I have a deep well to pull from because I'm having to come up with and be creative every single month with who I'm coaching. You know, the companies that bring me in, I don't go in and speak. I go in and coach their companies. Right. I may go back month after month after month to get them to a much higher level. So I do think that separates me from lots of people that are out there that are social media stars or any of those things. I mean, I'm a pure coach. I think I was the only pure coach that spoke at 10X. That is a pure coach of everybody that was on stage.
You're a participant in this game of life. You're not an observer. You're fully immersed. He's confident. He's not arrogant. He's very authentic, and he's conditioned himself to show up no matter what. His name is Coach Micheal Burt. He's my friend. He's on the Unstoppables. And now we dive into part 2. Are you ready? How do you define success? You've had a ton of it. How do you define it?
You know, for a long time, my stock answer was the continued expansion of happiness and the progressive realization of worthy goals. But here's how I define success. I mean, I think that's a stock answer. To me, I think I am most successful when I am creating. I am most successful when I am doing what I feel like the good Lord put me on this earth to do, which is coach people. So to me, success is the constant pursuit. It's not a pursuit of something. It's the creation. It's the creation of becoming, I think, what you were intended to become. And I'm a creative being. So that's success to me.
I would go back to the momentum example you used in the 15 seconds and answer this question, perhaps, because you probably lost a game like this. But I won't give you that one. The other side of that shiny coin of success is failure. What was your greatest failure, Coach, and what did you learn from it?
I think from 20 to 30, I was self-absorbed. I think the ambition was stronger than my desire and care for people. You know, I look back from 20 to 30, I think there was a lot of collateral damage. I didn't spend enough time with family and friends. I was pursuant of one thing, that was winning a championship and being a championship culture. And building a championship culture. So I think during that period of time, I had a lot of failure, a lot of hit and run relationships. And that's something that I don't want to go back to. I don't want to be that person again.
That's fantastic. I thought you were going to say that there was a game, you had all that momentum the whole game. Last 15 seconds, someone drilled a 3 and it was all over.
There actually was a game like that. It pains me to talk about it, which is why I don't talk about it much. but you know, here's a lesson for you, Bill, that for the audience. That game, I didn't believe we could win in my mind. And so we were up by 14 points with 3 minutes to go. And I went into prevent. And prevent is where you stall and you try to run the clock out. And my players were young and inexperienced, but they sensed me pulling back. So they were looking at me like, what are we doing? We're up by 15 points or 14 points with 3 minutes to go. And so I kept trying to stall and run the clock out. And eventually my players got freaked out, because they could sense that I didn't feel that. Now, what's the lesson there? Anytime you play not to lose, it guarantees losing in your life.
And there's another one too. Your people look to leadership. They look and they feel from your emotional bandwidth. Yeah.
Yes. And they were kids, but they could sense.
Oh yeah.
He's afraid. He's making decisions out of fear. He's suppressing our desire to go push. And that was a mistake.
What is your one defining moment, that thing that changed the arc of career and life?
I've had 2. One was winning a championship as a high school basketball coach. I mean, you can't imagine being the number one team, all the culmination, all the 80-hour work weeks, to stand in the middle of that floor and be the best. And I think the second one has been 10X. I think speaking at 10X was a monumental moment for me, because it solidified in a lot of people's minds that this guy's legitimate. It gave me the opportunity to stand side by side with some of the greatest thinkers in the world and thought leaders in the world. And it forced me to get better. That was a big moment for my career, to speak on that stage and to be out there. So that at that point, this has been 2 of the biggest moments of my life professionally.
Would you coach the listener who doesn't want to feel regret? And how big is regret in your arsenal of what you coach, what you teach, and what would you tell them about how to overcome regret now?
Well, I think the past is finite. I think the future is infinite. It holds unlimited possibility. But here's what I would tell you. All of the special that you have in your life comes from your past. It comes from the knockdowns. It comes from the heartbreaks. It comes from everything that's happened to you in your past. So leverage it as raw material for your bigger future. The way we minimize regret in life, in my opinion, is by taking action. We take action, and that's how we minimize regret. And so if we don't take action, then we have a lot of regret in our lives.
You're on a massive tsunami-like wave of momentum. You're moving. You got energy. You've got substance. You got a very engaged following. So what's next for you?
I think what's next for me is I do believe that mastery is 10 years. I do believe this. I do believe mastery is long obedience in the same direction. And Eugene Peterson wrote that book, and I think it's a great title. But I believe in mastery. I do not believe in cotton candy. I do believe in 10 years of practice. I do believe that. So we are at a critical point in my career where I have been doing this for 10 years. And I think we are now trying to do things that people do, scale, become a national figure, become an international thought leader, do all the things we see the great people do. I mean, I want to impact as many people on planet Earth as I can. So I think we're at that moment of how do we do it? How do we take 585 people, turn it into 5,000, turn it into 500,000? And I was with Cardone once in his office in Miami. I was so excited because I was going, now I've got this coaching program up to 250 people. Now there's 300 people. And he looked at me and he said, you need to get your mind around serving 200,000 people, not 250 people. And how can you do that? Well, I think we're trying to figure that out right now. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of rhythm and consistency and accountability and how we build a national coaching company.
Okay, we're talking about finite and infinite. And finite is this: you're raising the banner. You've won, winning in basketball, winning in sports, zero-sum game. Someone wins, someone loses. You know what winning is defined clearly. For you, how do you define in this endeavor what winning is?
I see work as the distribution channel for my talents. So winning for me is being able to get up every day and really do three things. Number one, create meaningful content that moves the needle in another person's life. Deliver meaningful content in a way that if I only meet them one time, they never forget me, right? And three, can I spend time promoting and really doing what I need to do out in the world? If I can do those three things every single day and win, we have financial targets we want to hit. We have a number of people I want to get Monster Producer to. We have things that are targets for us every day. And I'm very target driven. So I wake up and pursue targets, and then I move to a bigger target, and then I move to a bigger target. So to me, that's what winning is. It's the pursuit of some big goal that scares you, wakes you up in the middle of the night. And but it's really getting up and doing those three things I love doing every day.
Okay, you have a pen. You're going to write one paragraph for people to learn from, to grow from. You're no longer on this earth. You've contributed greatly, but you want to make sure your legacy in some way is followed in this next paragraph. What would that paragraph look like? Well, you're writing to people so they can learn from Coach Micheal Burt, your last paragraph. What would that look like? I
think I would sum it up in my belief statements. I believe everybody needs a good coach in their life who's coaching you. I believe, and I think the paragraph would be about your potential. See, moms and dads would drop their daughters off to me, Bill, and they all said the same thing. Coach, my daughter's got a lot of potential. She just needs this, and this. And I started working with adults, and I started saying the same question. The concept of potential is not specific to children. I would say you got a lot more potential. And isn't it hypocritical for us to tell our children they've got potential when they don't see mom and dad reaching theirs? So to me, this concept of potential is, man, I need somebody in my life who's squeezing it out of me, because left to my own devices, I'll contract and retreat. So my paragraph would be: find a great coach, go for the mentor over the money, really dig in and be serious and curious about your own God-given potential every day.
You are delivering value. You are.
I hope so.
Keep on doing it, Coach. Hey, God love you. You have been fantastic on the Unstoppables. Coach Micheal Burt, you got to go look him up to see him in his jacket. And then once he takes it off, you got tremendous substance. I'll let you coach me.
Thank you, Bill, man. You're great.